Hi, I'm Dan Houk, one of the pastors at Bayside, Santa Rosa, and I've got a question for you this morning. What's in a name? You've heard that said before, and usually people mean it doesn't really matter what you call something. What matters is what it is. And I know that sometimes kids can be pretty cruel. They'll find out one thing about another kid, like the color of their hair, or the size of their nose, or how tall they are, and they'll give them a name. Now, when I was young, I was skinny, thin. When I was in junior high, really, really skinny, they called me beanpole. Now you gotta know something, that was not flattering. It's not because beanpoles are attractive. And it hurt. I remember it motivated me to wanna work out and do better. It's really interesting how a name can stigmatize you. It can give you an identity that you don't necessarily want. Well, we're gonna read a story today about a person who had a name that really stuck with him. And it's found in Mark chapter 2, starting at verse 13. It says, once again, Jesus went out beside the lake. A large crowd came to him, and he began to teach them. As he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting in a tax collector's booth. Follow me, Jesus told him, and Levi got up and followed him. Now, while Jesus was having dinner at Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were eating with him and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. Now, you got to know something about Levi. He was Levi, not just Levi, but the tax collector. That was what he was known for. Tax collectors in those days were told to collect a certain amount for the king, but anything extra was theirs. And so they ripped people off. They weren't like our wonderful tax collectors today. Actually, they would be seen in beautiful homes, but no one wanted to hang out with them except for maybe other tax collectors. And so in that culture, they were betrayers. They were thieves. That was their stigma. But when Jesus saw Levi, he saw someone completely different, someone that he thought was worthy of following him. So he had dinner with him. It was even a scandal at the time. The people in that town were criticizing Jesus because he would dare to eat with a tax collector. But you know what's crazy about Levi, the tax collector? He was given a new name. Maybe you've heard it. His name is actually Matthew. Yeah, Levi the tax collector became Matthew, the one that wrote the Gospel of Matthew, the one that became one of the 12 followers of Jesus. And he wrote, the one that became the follower of Jesus. And Matthew's name means gift of God. He went from being someone who took to being someone who was a gift to God. So I got 3 quick things for you to think about today when it comes to names. Number 1, do not take on a name that God hasn't given you. In Christ, you are a son of God. You are a daughter of God. You are a friend of God. You are a masterpiece work of God. Number 2, hang around people that see your identity, your true identity, that will encourage you in what you're called to do. And the third thing is, be that person that calls out that name that God has put on other people. Be an encouragement to see something in somebody else that they may not even see themselves. I hope that encourages you today.